Hello and welcome, New Meta Podcast, episode 200 million. Joining me as always, Marco and Adam. Marco, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you. Doing good, thank you.
Excellent to hear. How are you enjoying the return to lockdown in the UK?
So I've somewhat fortunate in having been in pseudo lockdown for what feels like months anyway, because I'm in the northwest in Manchester. So Thursday restaurants closed and it's a massive, feels bad. So went out yesterday, but the rest of life's been pretty crappy. Feels worse for someone like you who lived liberty and now has no liberty.
Yeah, feels bad. All I do now is just load up. I just cry during the day and play Turbo against unfair bots and pick like Tinker or Ember. That's like my entire life now, unfortunately.
Nice.
Adam, how are you doing? Welcome to the pod.
I'm good. Not a whole lot going on in the US this week. Very quiet.
Yeah, I was going to say the listeners will, of course, be embroiled with the high drama and extremely divisive things we've been seeing going on. I'm, of course, talking about Divine Plus pub meta trends, and we'll be diving into our top 5 underrated heroes to climb with. We've each picked 5 heroes. We're going to mount a case for why the hero's underrated, in our view, to climb with. And I've sort of left it, well, we've sort of left it deliberately ambiguous in the sense that we're not picking the best heroes to climb with outright. We're just picking heroes we think are underrated. But before we get to that, how have games been? Marco, I know you've been very, very busy. Have you managed to get to the keyboard and mouse much recently, at least in a non-work sense, over the last week?
I've been able to play a couple. I'm keen to get into more this weekend. I've played a couple Dietides. Stan had to endure my awful Dietide gaming, which is 0-2. It's not just 0-2, it's 0-6. I've never won a single game of Dietide, never mind a match. So I need to improve there. And then in the real games, I played a POS 4 Pudge, and you were in that game. And honestly, my respect for POS 4 good players it just goes through the roof, because I had the most imber first 15 minutes, just so much value added. But then when your POS 1, 2, 3 cores don't then pull the weight, it's just feels bad. So that was sad. And then kind of similarly again, I was played a Mars POS 3 in a party stack, so you got this range of skill. And then I played sick. The game I sent a screenshot of our net worths. We have top 3 net worths. Our POS run Drows just free farmed all game, like 4k higher than the enemy team, but you're reliant on the POS 1 and 2. Not doing stupid stuff to then close out the game. So it's one of those classes where I'm like, there's only so much I can do here, and then I start losing my head, and it's like, let's just win the game, and the other guys can't, and it just crumbles, and we throw like massive leads. So I just feel bad playing 3 or 4 in these varied party pubs. It just feels really bad to endure a really painful 1 or 2. So that's the lessons I've taken away. So we'll be back to the 1 on the weekend.
Excellent. It's funny you say that, because I played a party ranked earlier today and nobody wanted to play 1. In the end, I had to pick it, and the reason I didn't want to play 1 was sort of vindicated, because I played the most snoozy Terrorblade Farm Fest where I did nothing. Although it was a win for the Adam Arcana, so that was a debut W, debut green for the Terrorblade Arcana. So selflessly gifted to me by Come Dine With Me. Adam, Dota this week, have you been able to get many games in? Or how's it been?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me how my games have been, and then I would say, how has game been? And then I would say, I'm just playing Hades.
Yeah? I don't even know what that is, really.
It is so good. It is unbelievably satisfying.
What kind of game is it? Like a shooter, or?
It's like a roguelite.
Okay.
You know what that style of game is? So
is that the one where you die and go to the start?
Yeah. So it's like isometric top-down view. set in like Greek history, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
You're the son of Hades trying to escape out of hell. So that's the gist. It's so good though. There's so many like replayability factors and just different like blessings you can get from gods and combine them and stuff.
Well, I'm sorry to have dragged you away from Hades then.
I was like, do we have to do this? Do we have to?
Yeah. You've abandoned the plus 15 dietide win bonus then.
Yeah, I haven't even done that. I played one unranked game as Jakiro, and it was very awesome and very easy. That I should play that hero more. Just like win the laning stage, then your carry moves to the jungle, and I sat bottom for like 8 minutes and just cleared every wave as a Nature's Prophet tried to push into the tower. And then all of a sudden I was the same level as my offlaner and Giga farm. And I was still doing the right thing. That was what was the best part was, the anti-mage on the other team got bullied and came bottom. I just macro power the wave. He can't come down here.
Yeah, I love that. That's literally what happened in the game I just played, the TB game. We had a Jakiro support who I left to jungle because I'm TB, and then Jakiro just takes the lane for ages. It's really nice. Yeah. In terms of my games, the Tinker train's been rolling a little bit recently. It's sort of funny. I feel like my Tinker's really bad because it is really bad, but my win rate, I'm like 5-1. I've only lost one. The only game I lost is that Pudge game, that single draft Pudge game, where we griefed a 3-stack, me, Marco, and Ron Mexico, and went Tinker Pudge Tree in single draft. So that was pretty gross. That's the only one I've lost, and the other ones I've somehow won, even though I feel like my Tinker's very bad. But the hero's fun. At least I'm having fun at the moment. So, and I played a Terrorblade earlier today. Anything else? Oh yeah, I played a Sven, a Pugner as well, a Weaver. Oh no, a couple of Diatides. And it's funny because I was 3-3, 3 wins solo Diatide, 3 losses party Diatide. So I won all my party games, won all my solo games, lost all my parties. And then I played one solo Diatide where I played Weaver, and in some sweet irony, I felt like that was the best Diatide I'd played, and I was carrying on Weaver, which is a really good hero for Diatide, because of the mobility and all the rest of it. And that's the one that we lost, and I felt like my team were awful, and we picked terrible heroes, and then I got very frustrated with Diatide, and I haven't played it since.
Yeah, it seems that with heroes can really swing it. If a team has 3 really mobile heroes like Storm, Weaver, Quap, and then the other team has standard heroes, it feels nigh on impossible.
Yeah, it's one of those where you don't necessarily need all your heroes to be mobile, but you need a couple probably. And if you have a team where no heroes are mobile, it's just you can't win. I feel like it's so difficult to win. And then there are all these cheesy things, with Shaman wards with 10 seconds to go and all that silly stuff. I haven't played it since they did the mini patch about Diatide. I don't feel there's any need to cover that in this episode, though, but they did release a mini patch to improve some backdoor aspects and true sight around stuff. I don't know what difference that's made. Like I said, I haven't played it for 4 days. Don't have much more to add to that, I suppose. Just been rocking the Tinker a bit more, a few more games. Yeah, beware.
How many treasures have you gotten?
Maybe 4. I think I got a Lich set. I got a Leshrac set. I got a Hallowed Chest of the Diatides, where I got a Thornwatch, the Skywrath tier 1. And then I also got something else, some sort of global item thing. I can't remember what it was. Some sort of seasonal effect. I think it was the death effect where bats fly or something like that. I can't exactly remember. Something though. Have you got anything interesting?
One of those chests that then I opened and got the Viper tier 1.
Yeah.
And then a like effect. I don't know what you call it, like a kind of like a hallowed, glowy green effect that you open it up and then you get like maybe 10 sets for different heroes. It's not like you can mix and match the effect. It's like it's just on those items for those heroes.
That's interesting.
But it
you get cool. Multiple in one.
Yeah, I got like 65 items when I opened it.
Wow.
I think it was just sets for about 10 different heroes. And they all have like, I guess they have like a deathly like pallor on them or something. I don't know if you've seen those before.
Like the ghost sets?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's like reworkings of old items, I guess. They're kind of green.
Interesting. I don't really understand the rewards because the Lich set that I got and the Leshrac set that I got, they're nothing to do with this dietide. They're just random old sets that I got rewarded when I got 100 points or whatever. And I didn't think that would be part of it. I didn't think you would just be able to be gifted random stuff. I thought it would all be
that's what I
sets from this dietide. But yeah, I got gifted the Twisted Wisdom set for Leshrac. I say gifted, rewarded. And I also got rewarded the Shares of the Mad Mutineer for Lich. And they're sets that came out years ago. Like 2 years ago plus. So I don't really understand what's going on there. I tried to sell the Thornwatch Skywrath Mage for £1.99 or something. But wasn't able to because the servers were down or something weird like that. We'll see how that plays out though. Man, I'm jealous of people that live in certain countries in Europe and indeed around the world where it tells them what they're going to get before they open a treasure. Because with this one, you've got to pay £2 or whatever it is to open the treasure. And for some people that live in countries with different gambling loot box rules, it tells them what they're going to get so they don't even have to buy the key. And it's kind of mad that.
Can you sell the chest?
Yeah, so you can, if you're in Belgium, or I don't know what other countries, I know Belgium for sure, you can look at the chest, see you're going to get something rubbish, and then sell the chest to someone in a different country in Europe who won't see what's going to be inside it.
Yeah, that seems pretty OP.
Is it like that for the other person? Is that locked? The item's like locked like that? Or is it just depends on who opens it?
I'm not sure, actually. And having said that, maybe you can't. I presume you can. I presume that Dynamic, who's Belgian, who sees what's going on, see what's in the set, I presume he can sell the set to other people in Europe. I presume it's not just a closed market for people in Belgium who can all see what's inside.
Yeah, but the question of that chest he sells, the person who buys that chest, will they get the crap item Dynamic saw, or will it randomize again? I think that was Adam's question. Right,
I don't know. Hopefully randomize again, or it seems really abusable.
Yeah, hopefully, or else there could just be loads of chests on the market that everyone's like, we know these are shit. So.
Oh, and you can buy. I'm surprised that you can buy the chest.
Yeah, you can buy chests, can't you? If you go on.
Yeah, they're like $5.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy. I thought they would be like a penny. Because that's what chests used to be back in the day, like 10 or 25 cents. But I guess the chests are actually kind of rare.
Yeah.
Hard to get. Yeah, you've got to grind for them. Although, if they randomize every time, that's also open to abuse, because all you need is a couple of Belgian friends to keep gifting it back and forth until they see something that's good.
I think you can only gift once.
Oh, but just sell on the market, even.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, yeah. Who knows? Weird stuff going on. But not something for any of us to worry about, because we don't get to see what's inside. So, underrated heroes to climb with. Like I said at the top of the show, quite an ambiguous and open to interpretation way of putting the question. I don't know who wants to start. Maybe, Marco, you can kick us off. I feel like I've been talking a lot up until now, so...
So this first hero is definitely biased to my own pool of what I deem good, strong, and a hero that I think's not picked up enough and is underrated and overlooked. It's the POS 5 Bane. I think this is an underrated hero because it's a lane dominator, just brain sapping right click, high armor, very, very desirable. And then just by fact of 2 spells, you Nightmare 1 hero, you Fiend's Grip another from a safe peripheral distance, and it's game winning. Game winning plays possible on this hero all through the game. And so I think if you spam this hero, the game impact you can have compared to, say, any other POS 5 in the pub scene, like your Lions and Ogres, say, no way can they have as much impact as a Bane with a Nightmare and a Fiend's Grip. So I'm a big fan. I mean, we have spoke about how sick this hero is, so maybe it doesn't deserve going in the underrated pool, but I definitely feel like it's underpicked for how good it is. And if you want to climb, it could be a good choice.
Yeah, your mic's a bit like scratchy, by the way. So I don't know if you need to like move a wire or something, but just FYI. Adam, you're a 5. How do you feel? I mean, Bane, do you think that's underrated? Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably underpicked relative to its utility or how strong it is.
It's not complex either.
I think but it can be a net negative hero.
Yeah, 1 in a 25 situations.
Yeah, in terms of the stats, the underlying stats, so the hero's got a 55.5% win rate in Divine Plus, and yet it's only picked 7% of the time. And other support heroes are picked much higher than that with worse win rates. And it's got a positive win rate, in fact, a very strong win rate at all levels apart from Crusader down, and it's 49.3% in Herald, Guardian, and Crusader. But as soon as you get to Archon, that jumps to 54% and never looks back. So that indicates, it's a hero it's probably, you get a little bit used to it, you can climb.
Yeah, if you know how to lane and you can be a lane bully, and then you can get off your Fiend's Grip channels, you're golden. You just got to know who to Nightmare and who to Fiend's Grip, and that's it.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
And when to take off Nightmare. Like, if someone on your team has been, you accidentally Nightmare them, or they accidentally attack who you Nightmare, and then they get Nightmared, you got to take it off. But I guess that's why you can just leave yourself open to Nightmare saving somebody, or I don't know, screwing over your team. But I think it's very good hero.
Yeah, no doubt.
The Nightmare plays as well. Oh, there's nothing better than dodging a stun or disable or saving someone from a finger of death because you get the Nightmare save.
Yeah, or Nightmaring a duel. That's very fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Reaper's Scythe's a sick one as well. I don't know if you said that, Marco.
Yeah, something like that.
That one's pretty easy too. Like, that one very gives you a nice little backswing and timer to be able to do that one.
It's weirdly strong, Nightmare, honestly, in terms of how much damage and disables you can dodge. It's not just, say, a singular instance. You can dodge like half a second, nearly a full second of crap being thrown at you because of the way the animation works.
Yeah. It's like not VP anymore, but Solo. Or is VP still, or Solo still on VP? Are there 2 VPs? Like,
I thought
they just changed the VP. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the actual VP. All I know is that VP Prodigy is now VP.
What happened to Solo?
Solo Bane. Yeah.
Yeah, that he makes Nightmare look overpowered, very overpowered.
Yeah, X Nova Bane as well. That's another signature. My number 5 hero. So I've very conveniently landed on one hero of each position, which I didn't even mean to do. But my 5th choice for underrated hero is Sven. And the reason I'm picking Sven is because I played a couple of games recently where I've got slapped by a Sven and it felt like we never had any chance to win, which made me think, wow, this hero would be really good to climb with if you could sort of emulate this in some way. And sure, that's going to be the case for a lot of heroes that you can get crushed by. But when you think of carry heroes that are traditionally very good to climb with in position 1, you could say something like, oh, well, Chaos Knight or Wraith King, they have very good stuns. Just point and click stuns, very easy to use. Sven with Great Cleave also has insane farm speed. So other really good heroes that you think, oh, you can climb with, like, I don't know, some Luna or some whatever heavy farming hero that you can fly all the way to like Ancient with. I feel like Sven has both, especially with the new God Strength being just pure damage, just all around strong hero, just farm. And with the new Ags, don't get kited anymore, still have this insane stun from really long range. I just feel like the hero's really versatile now. You just blow up from out of vision, don't need to buy blink, so it's easier to build up your items easier. And it's just quite simple and straightforward. You just can even go the Midas route or you can go the Mask of Madness route. That's like the only consideration. So I really feel like Sven's overlooked when you think about carries to climb with. People always look to other heroes first, and I actually think Sven, honestly, up there with like a Faceless Void for great heroes to carry with. I don't know what your thought, whether you're in agreement with the Sven shout.
Slap a Fiend's Grip on him and it's useless.
Well,
slap a Sprout on him and he's useless.
Yeah.
I've been lasering Svens all week, so yeah.
Well, now you can actually, with the Ags, you can get out of a tree at least.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. I think leave him alone. He's a big problem. But is he Faceless Void? I don't know if I'd go as far as he's Faceless Void. I mean, he can't Corona Sphere.
Yeah, but he's got an undodgeable stun with the 15 talent's so stupid. You can't... I was playing Pugner against Sven. You can't decrep save anyone.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It just gets dispelled.
Same with Yules.
Yules and Gosept get dispelled with his Q. Like, it's insane. It's such a ridiculous talent.
Rest in peace supports. You gotta go Glimmer.
Yeah, it's mad.
It isn't.
Wait, would that dispel Glimmer? I guess it would if you did it.
I think it would, yeah.
You gotta do it after.
Can you disjoint it though if you went invisible?
The only thing you can do to disjoint is blink. That's what you have to buy.
Does that actually disjoint as well?
Yeah, blink definitely does, because pros buy... Like, I saw a game where this Sven was going out of control, and some support hero that never gets blink, but needed to survive, like, fights. I can't remember what the hero was. Was it like a Grimstroke or something? Went, like, first item blink against Sven just to not instantly die to Ags. Or something like that. Anyway, sorry, what you said?
A point I was going to say, in favour of why it's underrated, say versus Void, Sven is easier to execute, probably, because you've just got to stun the target and press your ult, press BKB, and that's it. Whereas Void, with his jump in and his chrono placement, maybe
he farms faster.
He farms fast, yeah, so you just got to be brain dead, hit creeps.
If you play Sven, you can definitely knock on the door of you can get 900 GPM playing Sven. I don't think you can do that on Void unless you get a million kills. You can really farm with this hero, especially with the low cooldown of God Strength. The uptime is so high, so you just farm like an absolute machine. Like, I lost to a Sven earlier this week. And his GPM was like 889 or something. I was like, my goodness.
Yeah, the Sven just needs to AFK farm. Doesn't have to be involved. And he just comes out 25 minutes with shit ton of items. Whereas if you're playing Void, you can't play Void AFK farm. You have to get involved. Because, can't farm as fast. So it's a bit harder to execute.
Yeah.
Decent shout. Can't really flame it too much.
Adam, you're going to enlighten us with your number 5 pick.
I don't know if I really did these in order.
Yeah, I didn't order them.
I'd throw out a Shadow Demon.
Oh, nice.
Good old 106th most popular hero. Very strong. Very good. Disruption. It's like Nightmare. But
yeah, and you get illusions.
Yeah, and you get illusions. So I played this hero against an anti-mage and it felt awesome because you just make anti-mage illusions and then mana burn them. And he said, Soul Catcher is Soul Catcher. So like big way of cutting through tanky heroes, just percentage reduction. And a bit of wave clear / D push / just being annoying with the shadow poison. Lots of damage build up with that. You can farm some stacks for yourself, or you can get off some sick double stacks, triple stacks.
Ooh, that's cool.
From far away. And then the perk, which is sick now, because it's like continuously purging throughout. So no Yules, no Ghost Scepters, etc.
If
they pop at it,
work,
yeah. Yep, that roots. Basically, it stops it in the middle of it. So
if someone was playing Shadow Demon, would you advocate the Shadow Poison E damage build, or would you advocate skilling Disruption and Soul Capture?
What are they? The cooldown talent on the Shadow Poison and then the extra damage?
No, I'm on about skill build. Would you say get 4 levels in Shadow Poison, or would you say play Shadow Demon where you don't really focus on Shadow Poison? You go the Q and the W. In
the game I played, I maxed Shadow Poison and secondary maxed the Q for the AM. I don't know if you secondary max the Disruption all the time. It kind of is game dependent. I think if you're wanting to make illusions, you definitely want to max it because they last longer.
I think the Disruption cooldown is better.
Yeah, that too. But I think in a typical game, you secondary max the Soul Catcher. I could see arguments where if you're not actually getting to, throw out Shadow Poison, you do max the Soul Catcher. And I think that TI was kind of, when it was like the new hotness spell, that's kind of what people did because it was absurd amounts of just like burst damage from a support, even though it wasn't actually damage.
Yeah. One of the worries I have with Shadow Poison sometimes is that you could get 4 points into it, but then the game state doesn't let you use it. Say there's not really much fighting or lane fighting, or there's not much farm for you to have, and it feels like you end up having wasteful points.
Yeah, if you want to be like a ganker, you lead off with a Disruption and then you Soul Catcher. That's definitely a viable build for sure. You don't need the Shadow Poison.
Yeah. To be fair, you can play the hero Pos 4 as well, in which case you could just go ham with the harass.
Yeah, I think Shadow Demon's a good choice. It's perennially, there's a word there somewhere, underpicked.
Also setup with the Disruption. Light Strike Arrays, arrows, Split Earths, etc.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Do we want to? Can we snake draft it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it leads into the one I have next, which is Leshrac. So there's
there you go.
Split Earth. I wouldn't. Back in the day of the old tri lanes, that was a thing. Your 5 Shadow Demon, 4 Leshrac.
Yeah.
This is the hero on the list that I don't play, but I think it's really good. It dominated me in Dire Tide, and if you watch like high tier pubs on Twitch, some rank 25 players playing a Leshrac, and you're like, why does no one play this? I think it's like game dependent, but it just like absolutely look unstoppable. Some games.
What position do you think of when you think about the most underrated position for Lesh?
Well, I just think you mid or like one him.
Right.
Yeah, probably mid because he needs levels. I think that's typically where he goes. But he's 96th on the popularity.
Yeah,
probably
stupidly low.
Yeah,
stupidly low pick rates in Divine. It's like 10% Divine Plus, but you start looking down, it jots down to about 2.5% at the lowest level. So really not a hero that people play.
Yeah, I think Divine Plus knows when to pick him, or just at least realizes the strength of just the sheer amount of damage, and it's split damage too. It's like physical and magic, so it's hard to itemize against. And then, New Bloodstone works really well with the burst healing. He pushes faster than like a Luna. It's crazy, especially at level 25 with all the extra edict things. And then you kill him and the edicts still like stick around.
Yeah, he's a funny hero. I don't think people play well against him. If you're manning up against a Lesh, I don't think people have a good sense of whether or not they can man up against a Lesh. Do you know what I mean? People don't really think about it, and then they're like, wait a second, I'm just taking 1 trillion damage out of nowhere. Yeah. Especially with the Yule stuff about how the Pulse Nova keeps going and all of that.
Yeah, it's like more than like going on a Death Prophet, right? Like that has their ult going. It's like, do I man up on this Death Prophet? It's like that times 3 on a Lesh, because you have Pulse Nova and Edict going, and then they'll just like split Earth you, and then you're just gone. You just explode.
The fact he's a race car as well is so fun, and one of its strengths, like if you've got BOTs and a Yules, it's got like 500 MS or something. It's really hard to deal with sometimes.
Definitely. The one thing I'd say maybe against the Lesh is that if you're playing him mid, I do think that his laning is quite weak. And sometimes if you lose the lane because your base damage is poor or whatever, suddenly you're in a position where you're behind out of the lane, and what are you going to do then? Are you going to try and like make a rotation happen with like Split Earth? It can be quite difficult, and he doesn't really want to farm just because you burn through mana so quickly. Sometimes that can happen, but I feel like if you know what you're doing with Lesh and you can come out of the laning stage feeling pretty good, if you can play a game when you're sort of reacting to dives, farming, not feeling the pressure to make something happen, then that's the dream Lesh, and you can just TP in with Pulse Nova and get like a double kill easily to dives and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then it's like if you leave him alone for a second in a team fight, he's like, oh, we lost both towers in this lane. Type of a thing.
Yeah, Edict is mad for pushing towers.
Great wave cutter, clear, it's just he offers a lot of utility.
I'm going to take us to a fun place here with my next choice maybe. So I've gone with a hero that's actually really popular, but one that I think most people think is, this hero is popular but not very good for climbing with, but I actually think it's underrated to climb with, and that's Legion Commander. What I'm thinking here is things I like about LC in terms of climbing in ranked Dota is snowball potential from the 3, which is always nice. I really like having 3s that can just snowball and carry a game by themselves. I almost put Night Stalker for this one because everyone's had games where a Night Stalker's just completely popped off and turned into the carry. And I think LC does have that potential, especially when the dual damage is stacking up early. So right off the bat, you have a potential to snowball and just carry a game from POS 3, which is really nice. Then also you have, I think actually, more item choice than most LC players think. Most LC players are playing for that Blink Blade Mail, Shadow Blade Mail, all in for the duel, trying to snowball even when they can't. But I think there's nothing wrong with playing an LC and going for more team items if you feel like that's necessary. Basically, you have that flexibility. Also, you have a save with the W, the impact of I can't remember what it's called now. What's it called? Press the attack? Yeah.
Yeah.
The impact of press the attack can be very high. And the impact of duel can be very high, especially with slippery heroes around. If you can ever catch a Storm Spirit or any of the spirits with a duel or anything like that, catch a Brood Mother with a duel, that's going to be really good for you. And also, you have your Q that's ridiculously good against certain heroes like Brood or Meepo or PL and stuff like that. So I actually think LC's an underrated climb hero. I certainly wouldn't have any words of discouragement if someone came to me and said, I'm going to climb and I'm going to use LC to climb with as a POS 3. we often give heroes like Underlord all the plaudits for carrying from POS 3, and I certainly think that Underlord's an exceptional hero to climb with. But I think LC is underrated to climb with.
Issue with LC is that you've got to be a bit playmaker with dual plays, blink plays, and don't know how reliable that is.
I don't know. I've won games where, I mean, this is the guy that has played LC 5 and 4, so you just use duel as a lockdown, not necessarily win it. I think Press the Attack is an amazing spell, better than Aphotic Shield. So, Lane Bully, I think you can win the game without getting very many duels. I think Pipe's very good on the hero, like Stan said. You can go utility, especially if you have someone that can carry pretty hard from 1. Then your Press the Attack becomes very good on like a carry that gets locked down. And the AoE Press the Attack at 25 is always the right decision, but it's never the fun decision.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying about the playmaker stuff with LC, but I guess the other side of the coin is that that's true, but it also means that because of the way the hero's kit works, you have the potential to pop off and get solo kills because you have this duel, and you can go Blade Mail and Blink, and if you have some dual damage under your belt, you're just solo killing the enemy SF or the enemy whatever. So that's like the other side of the hero's kit. Sometimes you feel pressure to get stuff done, but sometimes when stuff's going well, you just solo carry a game, which is obviously good for a hero you want to climb with.
The level 25 talent is one of my favorite talents, honestly. The AoE Press the Attack. It's so cool and fun to use, and it can increase your tower pushing by tenfold. It is insane how much effective damage that gives when
the
pushing.
Noise as well, because it just stacks all the sounds on top of each other. So it's just the loudest Press the Attack sound. It's so funny.
It's insane.
Yeah. Marco, your number 4?
Well, my next hero, maybe I'll have to think about a ranking. But similarly to LC...
sorry, you don't need to rank it. But
similar to LC, this hero can snowball. I think it tags up with the team really well in terms of synergy. And if you catch an enemy just right with your projectile, really effective. This hero Razor is my next shout. I'm also going to trump Adam's point about the pick rate, because I'm really surprised, honestly, but Razor, the bottom pick rate of Divine Plus.
Oh wow, 1%.
Yeah, so...
Were you baiting with your projectile? Were you trying to bait Mirana or something?
Mate, you can snowball tag team and catching someone with a projectile. How does Tusk not scream out?
I was thinking Tusk when you said he tags with your team well. I was thinking, he's going to say Tusk. But then when you said projectile, I didn't go to shards. I went to arrow for some reason.
Yeah, catch someone with your shards. But I mean, catch someone with your plasma field. Oh, God. I also kicked off with snowball. God damn it. Put a lot of time into that.
I was thinking Tusk.
All right, so Razor, not Tusk. Incredibly low pick rate, 1.06%. Phenomenally low. The reason I cited Razor is I think the lane dominating aspect is really strong in pubs. So obviously not every game you're going to be able to dominate a lane, but most, if you just static link?
Yeah.
If you just static link merchant game it up, you are going to make someone's life a misery. And in pubs, making particularly a core's life a misery is so powerful mentally, and then just in terms of the game. So really, it's pretty basic execution, the static link gameplay, particularly if you've got a +1 to help you get that link off. And then just dominate a lane, and I don't really think about it much beyond that. I feel like that one factor of the mental tilt is underrated.
Yeah. Razor's one of those where I'm always scared that I might win a lane and then lose the game. It's the tough part is that mid game where you can't solo kill anyone. Sometimes you can, you rush a BKB, you get it 18 minutes and you can pretty much just run down any hero with BKB and not care. But sometimes you do struggle with Razor after a really good start to convert it. Enemy heroes are farming a bit, you might have a very passive position 1 or something, and suddenly you're stuck of what to do because you're a race car, but you're not a playmaker, and all the lane shutting down that you did of the enemy now is a bit more difficult. That the game's more fluid in the mid game. I do think he's underrated though. I mean, he's been picked less than 1% in Divine Plus this week, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, my main point is on the dominating a lane aspect and really just shutting someone's game down, and then the mid game pulling through with value, can be hard. But you've also got a basic game plan: run around, linking, hitting people. Pretty aggressive hero.
Zaps your ass. That's all you want to do.
Zaps asses.
Yep. Yeah. That's a great voice line.
Storm Surge, easy to use.
Yeah. Whoa, I'm faster.
Wow.
Yeah. Marco, you can lead us off into the third choices here.
Oof. Nice. So my third choice, quite the curveball. I've gone with Syllabur, aka Lone Druid.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty radical. So the idea being, you've got to play the hero to get comfortable and familiar with it, but if you do put that investment in, I feel like pubs, it's unfamiliar. Who knows how to deal with a Syllabur, particularly if it's a Syllabur player. Say you're even mid lane or side lane, just your pubs, they won't know what to do. They will not, they just won't know what to do. You'll get rooted and not understand what's happening, and you can't stop it sometimes.
Yeah, I like the new Lone Druid for this, and I feel like the old Radiant build was harder to make work, more farmy, less obvious how to play it, whereas the new one where you just go Mask of Madness and MKB or whatever on the bear is just chomp, 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 and now that you can root from level 1?
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous. That's insane. You used to not be able to root until you had level 4 in the bear? Level 3 in the bear? Something like that.
Yeah, I think level 3.
Yeah.
People do not see this hero. So I think if you become a bit of a specialist with it, and do that fighter build, Mask of Madness, you can do Dezo into Basher, say, and then you make yourself true form, tanky. People they can't kill you. They don't understand that the burr is the threat, and they'll just die to the burr, and they'll overcommit and get feared and rooted, and it's a good in the lane if you can control both units. I feel like it's underrated, its strength. I think you could really abuse it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I did play it in unranked, or did I? Or did I play it against bots? Can't remember. God, so many bots games recently. Feels bad. Yeah. I think it's a decent shout. I don't know what Adam's thoughts are, but I feel like with Lone Druid, the thing that's scary is just having your main hero jumped. And that can happen sometimes, especially when BKBs are in the game. You're walking around near your bear, and they can just BKB and jump on your main hero, and what do? You know what I mean? You've got nothing.
That's quite late on.
Yeah, sure. It is quite late on. That's true. And you can definitely have the potential to run over games because you get a Mask of Madness on the bear, and you just run at any hero with bear Mask of Madness, and they will die.
Yeah. We played a game against a Syllabur player who had, it was about 1,000 GPM in 15 minutes or something. I meant to look at the replay because it was just phenomenal how fast he farmed amid Syllabur.
Midas bear, Midas bear, Midas.
Yeah.
Syllabur. Easy.
So I think if you invest a bit of time to get comfortable with the hero, your pubs won't be ready for it.
I like the shout. I do like the shout.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah, maybe that time doesn't exist, but
I mean, Adam, do you think Lone Druid's like a hard hero up there with the hardest of them?
I think he's pretty tough, yeah. I think he's pretty singular in his kit. I suppose if you play Meepo, you can play Lone Druid, but I think they're kind of different.
Yeah, I think they're different as well. I think if you play Arc Warden, you can maybe play Lone Druid a bit better. I think Meepo's like a weird... Meepo's like another singular hero, like Lone Druid, that's not really that much like the others. Yeah, I don't know. Lone Druid's definitely a funny one. I guess I will go ahead with my third choice. So, this is one... Marco mentioned this hero when he was thinking about his list, and I sort of kept quiet because it's one that's actually on my list. So this is my position 5 hero, and I've gone with the Warlock, the Snorlock. The Corlock. No, not the Corlock. But yeah, the pure snooze fest position 5 Warlock. When you think of position 5s to climb with, you don't think of Warlock. You think of Warlock as the ultimate 50% hero. Like, he's not bad, he's not good, he's just there, and he's just playing Dota, and he's just a position 5, and you don't think about him. Does he have Golem? Cool. Does he not have Golem? Okay. And that's basically it. But I actually think that Warlock, you could put together a climb with Warlock. First of all, just statistically, he has like a 6% pick rate in Divine Plus, 51%. I mean, it's not that high. It's pretty stable across all win rates, across all levels. Although, having said that, he's approaching 54% in Herald to Guardian. So, if you're really low down in MMRs, maybe Warlock's even becomes that much better. I feel like the reasons I went for this hero is, first of all, look, he has this ult that's just free impact. It's not difficult to use the ult. It's got insane cast range. It's got insane, radius. You get a golem. It's really easy to use, and it's really, really high impact. So it's sort of free impact. Obviously, BKB piercing, as we know. The laning of the hero, because of the way Shadow Word Heal, or whatever it's called, Shadow Word Death works, it's just solid. You just throw it on your carry, or you throw it on the enemy if you're going for more of a harass thing. And you don't really have to think about that much more, especially with the new Fatal Bonds as well, being able to have many more targets. I think that's easier to use in a laning sense. It used to not really be a laning spell, but now if you chuck that on the enemy hero and a bunch of the enemy creeps, you're doing a lot of damage, and you're fine. The hero doesn't lose lanes. It doesn't really win lanes, but it doesn't lose lanes. I think that's got good value in ranked. And then I think another point that I was thinking about when I came to Warlock was, because he hasn't got a stun, because none of his abilities are point and click on enemies, I actually think that helps trench Dota players like me who are bad at Dota. And the reason it helps them is because they don't get baited into doing bad things, putting themselves in bad positions. There's no bait potential. There's nothing for you to do. You use your ult, you use your heal, you maybe use upheaval. There's no, oh my god, I might be able to blink stun. You think about Rubik trying to go for some blink telekinesis play, or a Lion going for some blink play, or an Undying that thinks he's strong and running in and just instantly feeding. Ogre thinking he can get involved. None of that happens with Warlock, because you know that you're stupidly weak, so you just deliberately stay back completely out of trouble, maybe throw a Glimmer Cape, cast your spells, and that's all you have to do. So that's why I picked Warlock. I just think that there's no bait potential for lower level players, like they myself included.
That's a funny pro. There's a major possible feels bad though if you whiff the rock and you drop it and it's just shit, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, then you just push.
Yeah, I guess. Push the lane with your 3-minute cooldown ultimate. I guess that's one way to shove a lane. Your carry's probably not doing it, so you might as well. Honestly, I mean, I was thinking of putting this hero on the list as well, and just my principles of the Snorefest got the better of me. I do think you could climb because it's so simple, and you use your W to heal. I think the Q gets underlooked. overlooked and not used enough, and people don't recognize its value. Say in laning or in fights, they just see it as, oh, I'll use Q, but don't realize it's really strong if you use it at the right time or catch it on enough heroes, etc. And then, I mean, the upheaval, cast that in a fight, make a cup of tea, come back. I mean, not many heroes you can do that with, so...
Yeah, he does have strong hands-off keyboard potential.
Yeah.
No question. Adam,
and it's actually actively good if you're channeling the upheaval, yeah. Take your hands off the keyboard. No accidental presses.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Do you think Warlock's a good POS 5 to climb with? I mean, it's not one that you've climbed with. So
yeah, I think it's a great hero.
Okay.
Boring.
Yeah. I mean,
what's not underrated is its boringness. That is properly rated.
I'm getting a real morbid curiosity to play a party and play Warlock.
I've done POS 5.
As POS 5, yeah. I'm feeling really keen to experience this.
That will be a day that I'd like to see.
I mean, I'm happy to support you, Stan. I'll do the 5 Warlock and we can go from there.
My own prison, that's what you'll be thinking in your head.
Yeah.
All this skill just bottle up in this kit that can't do anything.
It's like the ultimate VP solo or PPD, just puppeteer. Play the
pulling the strings on a Warlock, yeah.
That's the dream.
Adam, go ahead. Your number... Oh, so you're number 3 and 2, yeah. I suppose.
So this hero is as hands-off as Warlock, but is way more fun. And that would be Spirit Breaker.
Nice.
The Moo Cow. The Space Cow, where you just press Q and then you take your hands off the keyboard. That is also the correct thing to do. You do not want to cancel your charge. And then you hit them and you right-click them and you take your hand off the keyboard again. And you just try and get a bash. I think the hero is pretty fun. I think it's pretty good. Built-in ganking very early from level 2. Like, nobody expects the Spirit Breaker to just show up middle at like 2 minutes and kill the mid.
Particularly if you come in at the right angle. Exactly,
yeah. And I think it's one of those heroes that you can like trade a lot. I mean, you're so tanky. You just trade really well. Don't care if you die because you don't have to TP out the lane. Like, you just charge back out. And that's where you can kind of like come out of nowhere sometimes as well. Because in pubs, people don't really communicate too well. It's like, oh, Spirit Breaker's missing. Like, usually by the time people realize you're missing, you're showing up in lane and stunning somebody. I don't think there's a lot of like nuance with Spirit Breaker, but I did climb with him at one point, 4 or 5, and he's just he does his one job pretty well. He can definitely take over the game and still be like 2 and 12. He'll be like 2, 12, and 35, but he really soaks up a lot of attention.
As a POS 4 as well, is a role that is notoriously difficult, and as a Barra, your gameplay or your game plan is really straightforward. So that's a plus.
Yeah, you're like a way easier Earth Spirit.
Oh
like, you can't miss your role. Like you just run right at them.
Yeah, man, I haven't played Spirit Breaker in so long. I want to play a Spirit Breaker, to be honest.
This conversation is real negative EV for our future games, because I've got big urge to play POS 1 Mask of Madness Barra now. Just 17%.
I think mid Spirit Breaker. I used to play mid Spirit Breaker back in the day, like long time ago. I've put in 3 games of mid Spirit Breaker, and I remember coming out of those 3 games thinking, I actually think this is legit. You know, this can take me to TI. So yeah, I'm all on board. I think it's good. I would go POS 4 though before I went mid, but there you go. do you have your 2?
Yes. So, I'll go with the popular one. So this is the most popular pick. Was a Crystal Maiden, 16.
Ooh, that's not underrated.
That's underrated from some people don't want to play it. Also, it's my favorite hero, so I mean that or Lich, one of my 2 most played. I mean, it's underrated for the public, I think.
As especially, a hero to climb.
Especially, to climb. And when we looked at the list where it's like you have Lion as the 3rd rated popular hero and then Ogre top 5, like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
There's way better supports.
Adam was legitimately disgusted when he saw Ogre and Lion in the top 3.
Ogre, at least, is a support. Lion is like a support for people that want to play mid but didn't get their choice, so they're like, I'm just going to do big damage and not provide anything in lane.
Yeah.
Yeah. That hero. Anyways. Crystal Maiden, a lot of utility.
What do you think about
we just talked about her, but this is for climbing. I think she's amazing for climbing. So
at Marco, you can't argue against the stats. We all saw the unstoppable rise of Come Dine With Me CM through ranked Dota 2.
That was a scary climb. That was rapid.
And then I just stopped immediately after binging Immortal. I was like, I did it. I beat the game. Now it's unranked party games forever.
Yeah, I think that's very reasonable. It's a very, very reasonable thing to do. How do you feel about CM, Marco? I'm interested because you're someone that plays 5 in does play a fair good chunk of 5 in ranked, but I don't really feel like you play CM.
Yeah, I've only played a small handful of CM. For me personally, it doesn't have enough play factor. I know you can meme about a big frozen field. Is it frozen field?
Freezing field.
You can meme about a big freezing field play, which can sometimes happen, but it's very rare compared to your Winter Wyvern Bane. Say it is a good hero. The stats don't lie. The pick rate I think is pretty justified. People realize it's a strong hero, good in the lane, good utility, roots probably undervalued. So I mean, I'm never going to be upset to see a CM. Probably not going to play it. It's also a bit,
Well, you've never been jumped on by a PA that you immediately frostbite freezing field and 100-0 while they're disarmed.
That's a silly PA, but that sounds satisfying.
Great soft counter to PL. That's not a popular hero right now, but Crystal Maiden great against that.
So many mids get shafted by the roots, and it's a long route as well if you put points into it.
Yeah, and no one's going to build like a Yules to counter a CM, do you know what I mean? That's not going to happen.
I honestly think people put too much investment in the passive mana regen. I know it's really good, and obviously you're going to get 1 point, maybe a second value point, but I get pretty miffed if people overkill the utility. I think there's still too much perception of CM as a walking utility or a hero. I think her Q and W are serious kill threat spells. So, I mean, I'm definitely not against this hero. It's probably just not... Yeah, it's not in my favor.
You can put any number of points in any number of the spells and justify it. That's why I love it when I, am doing something that's good for the game and people are, on the team, oh, look at this Crystal Maiden max their Frostbite. And it's like, yeah, they have Slark, Ember, all these mobile heroes, and they go on you, and then they're just rooted for 3 seconds. They just get exploded.
I think if you could, maybe I would agree more if we're at the upper end of ranked tiers. I think you can get more out of CM if you say someone like Adam or someone Ancient Plus who can make plays with the hero. i.e. not just casting the CM spells, but if you play on the edge as a CM, if you know what I mean, if you push the limit to its hero, I think you can do a lot of plays and don't bait heroes in. You don't use the W straight away, but if you use it correctly, you can get really high value out of it. Or, forcing those kills aggressively with your Q, say, or using Glimmer, freezing field plays, etc. I do think the hero can
hitting both heroes and getting the range CS in lane.
I do think there is a decent ceiling to the hero. For lower people climbing, I think, maybe a bit more underwhelming. Also, maybe
someone chasing you and you cast the Crystal Nova in front of you, but you still hit the hero behind you without turning. Oh, yes. That's
big brain. Honestly, I don't have enough cosmetic items to play CM. That may be why.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, my number 2 pick is a hero that's just picked up a very cool cosmetic item in the Dietide. And the statistics somewhat disagree with me with this hero. But anyway, the hero is Shadow Shaman, aka Rasta. I feel like this is quite specific to my rank in particular, the Ancient bracket, because looking at the statistics here, he's got a very low pick rate in Divine. Well, I say relatively low pick rate in Divine Plus, just 5%. But in Herald to Guardian, that's 12%. And I actually think that Ancients have a bit of overestimation syndrome going on, where they think they're big boy immortal players where Shadow Shaman's maybe not that good, but actually they're closer to Guardian players where Shadow Shaman's really, really good still. The main themes of why I think Shadow Shaman's an underrated climbing hero. He's got very strong laning, like very, very high damage, Ether Shock, or whatever it's called, Ether Shock. Obviously very good nuke spell, so you can trade very well with Shaman. Everyone knows how annoying it is to trade against a Shaman. You have solo kill potential with the wards. Hex, wards, into Shackle. You're killing heroes for sure. Crazy disable. Everyone knows in pub Dota, in lower level Dota, just having stuns is really OP. And that is multiplied when you have the cast range talent and Aether Lens and you're shackling people from across the map. That is ridiculous. People don't expect it. They don't respect that increase in cast range. Also, he has wave nuke with the Q, which is always good for a support to be able to nuke out a wave. It's just useful. And he has split push potential with the wards, which means that you can do some sneaky plays and stuff, which just raises the hero's ceiling. So I actually think the hero's underrated to climb with. I know he's not the most favoured hero in the pro scene, and in higher Immortal games there are problems there that I'm too dumb to think about, but I think all the way up to, I don't know, I want to say all the way up to Immortal, maybe all the way up to High Divine. The hero, I think, is really, really fine for a POS 4, and it comes back to a point that was made earlier where POS 4 is hard to get right, and I feel like Shadow Shaman, you can't really go wrong. He just brings so much to the table. So I'm going with Shadow Shaman as underrated hero to climb with.
Interesting shout. A lot of strengths there. For me, the POS 4 aspect, so I got no POS 4s listed in my list. I would steer away from that. Too difficult. Then the Rasta specifically, he's got a lot of powerful tools in his kit, but how easy it is to pull it off, it's questionable. It does sound good on paper, but I'm not sure.
I like the hero, and big right-click damage, double disables. He's got the Jakiro treatment where you can push out a lane. You're really nice. That's what you ideally want, is to just be left alone and then drop those wards on a tower. We've all experienced the late game Shadow Shamans. You always got to account for where that guy on the map is, because he will give his life to double drop wards down for 500 HP on a tier 3.
Yeah.
Because everyone's got it in their heads, I'm going to blink up here, I'm going to sneak through the trees, I'm going to blink backdoor, all this. Very annoying.
Yeah, definitely. It has that wing condition. I think to Marco's point about POS 4 being hard and how can you pull off, so these moves are suddenly a bit harder to pull off. For me personally, I feel like if I was going to climb on POS 4, I would bait myself into picking heroes that, in my view, are harder to execute. I actually think Shadow Shaman's quite an easy 4 to execute. You just build Aether Lens, and then you get this talent with cast range, and then you're casting insanely high impact spells from miles away, like Hex and Shackle. And you have wards, which you're going to drop down to help pushes, or just drop down in the middle of a fight, and it's going to be okay.
Quite a squishy hero. I think it's hard to play the aggressive heroes. Really, it's a really aggressive hero.
I don't think it's that aggressive.
He's as slow as Crystal Maiden, pretty much.
His slowness is an issue and can be susceptible to getting jumped and stuff. He wants to build items which are aggressive, like a Blink Aether Lens. If he gets jumped, it's not like it's unlikely to have a Glimmer or a Eul's or something defensive. So it's a bit critical.
For me personally, I don't see him as aggressive hero. I feel like you stay out, you don't do anything, and you react to a fight. You're certainly not initiating with like a Blink Hex. I think you wait for something to happen, and then you shackle from miles away, from out of vision. You don't reveal yourself. Unlike a hero like a Lion, who has all this burst damage, because of the way Shackles works. With a Lion, you think, yeah, great, I want to Blink Hex to initiate, Blink Hex Q, like ult, and then run away. And the fight started, and there's a hero that's disabled with a Finger of Death worth of damage done, and that's really good for us. But on Shadow Shaman, I don't really want to Blink Hex because my highest impact spell is Shackles, so I want to stay back, and I want to use Shackles reactively in a fight so I can get this really high impact spell from a safer distance. So for me, I see him a bit more defensively, personally. Like, I'm waiting to use Shackles, basically. Like, in later game situations, I'm not trying to make something happen with Hex.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I will say I will never complain if somebody is deciding as a 5 to choose between Shadow Shaman and Lion, and they pick Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, the 5 Shadow Shaman, I don't know. I prefer the 4, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Yeah. It's got good damage, certainly against the Lion.
I think its laning can be overstated. I know he hits right-click hard, and Aether Shock is a damaging spell, but I also think you could just get dived and killed if you're not mindful.
That's why you're mindful.
Yeah,
and you
Boots first
to dive the tower, and then you shackle them while they're getting hit by the tower.
Yeah, that play is helpful.
Yeah, Boots first, for sure.
That's underrated.
I would do that as a 5 even. So you can at least be 325 or 330 move speed.
So are we going to Marco for your second and final choice? Is that right?
Yeah, these are my worst and like least respected choices.
Okay.
So they're not number 2, number 1.
Right.
Probably 4 and 5. So the first one's pretty memey. It's Omni Knight. The point being, if Sir Action Slash can climb to 5k with the mechanics of a 2k, and he's just playing Omni Knight, there's clearly something going right. So this hero,
that's his
underrated.
Rallying the team, his communication, his leadership. That's his 5k contribution.
Stats don't lie. I mean, the hero has really, really low pick rates, but really high win rates. 56% in Divine Plus. Only picked 2% of games though, so
that was that Heavenly Grace. Just as good as the Aphotic Shield or Press the Attack. Very strong.
Yeah, if you learn what Heavenly Grace does and get familiar with this hero, I feel like you'll do a lot of value, and the enemy team will be like, "Oh shit, this is broken. This is so good." And
you don't even need to strong dispel. You just slap it on for the 50% stat resist, and it's fine.
Yeah,
it doesn't even need to use it. It's not like it's weird that repel used to be a thing, and now it's just gone. Yeah, and obviously Guardian Angel is very good. Do you think that Omni Knight is amazing because of the meta? Because I feel like a lot of the carries are, other than Spectre, Faceless Void, TB, big right-clicking Sven. These are heroes that GA is like really good against, other than Spec, obviously.
Yeah, I think the hero does like the more skirmish-orientated gameplay. 3v3, if you pop every spell, you're guaranteed to do impact. It's not, you can't use your heal wrong or your Heavenly Grace that wrong or your ult that wrong. It's pretty safe, guaranteed value as long as you press the buttons.
I always miss the heal, as in getting the damage off. I never damage people with the heal because the radius is too small for me. I always mess up.
So it's pretty straightforward in that sense. And this idea of buffing someone or just buffing your own heroes, enemy team just will not appreciate or factor in. So there's that edge factor. It's just stable. It's always going to be good.
It's nice in an era of, in a meta that's very position 1 heavy, big carries. It's nice to buff them.
The only concern is maybe you need to be playing at a higher rank as opposed to a lower rank, because maybe it's too passive for then your kind of Herald carry to make use of it. I'm not sure about that factor. I think other heroes where you can do more yourself and do more plays and aggression yourself is really important for climbing and exploiting those edges, etc. Omni Knight, obviously a lot more backseat, foot off the pedal, but has a lot of kind of quiet, hidden value that is definitely underrated.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think one concern maybe is if you're not that familiar with Omni Knight and you're not that high skilled, whatever. I think sometimes the laning, you can underplay the hero's laning quite hard. I think he's a decent laner, but I think people that aren't too familiar with Omni Knight can underestimate his laning value and therefore lose lanes that they shouldn't lose because they're not good at damaging and healing at the same time, and they don't know when to press their W, and they don't know what skill build to go. They don't know whether to go degen aura because they can dominate a lane with it, or whether to completely ignore it and just go like QW and all that stuff. I don't know. But that's another hero that I would like to play at some point soon as well.
We're going to have an Omni Knight,
Spirit Breaker,
Warlock lineup. Yikes.
Where are we going next, Marco? Your final hero.
Final hero, going to give a shout out to the Oracle. I think this is underrated.
Yikes.
Why yikes?
Because I'm just imagining
anyone
Oracle,
playing it.
just trying to play Oracle, yeah.
I thought about putting Oracle.
It's definitely underrated. People definitely choke and cannot play this hero or understand what its spells do. Like the vast majority of the population in Dota will seriously undervalue this hero. And so if you can, play 10 games of it, get comfortable with when to use every spell, there's more to think about than if you're playing a Snorlock or a Space Cow. But if you get a bit comfortable with Oracle, I think its impact is mega high. Because every spell's such high impact, and it's also really... It's going to be impactful every game. Be it disarms, be it magic resistance, be it saves, even kill potential. It's got aggression, it's got damage with Purifying Flames, nukes, and roots. It's got so much in Oracle's kit that I think if you were to grind it and specialize in it, that it would for sure be a legit hero to climb with. It's just hard to execute, and it's definitely more mechanically challenging than other heroes.
Adam, do you think 10 games is that optimistic for how to use Oracle spells?
No, I think that's pretty... You could do it.
Yes, validation.
It's been out for 5 years at this point. People should know what it does. I feel like that was the one new hero that came out. People were like, nah, I'm never going to learn that. Never going to learn what that hero does.
It's definitely can be tough, although I would say that certainly all the spells are very high impact.
Yeah.
They're all really high impact. Fate's Edict is
offensive and
spell.
defensive.
Yeah,
that.
There's not going to be a game where you can't get value out of the hero. Like, say some games with a Snorlock, or say you're playing a Rasta, but the game's really snoozy and you can't get stuff done. It's like with an Oracle, you just follow around any hero and if they're offensive or defensive, you're going to add value. I've actually played Oracle in ranked, and it went well. So 1-in-1, just 100% win rate. It's phenomenal hero.
Excellent. I will go to my final hero then, and I must say my final hero is maybe a bit of a disappointment, and the reason I say that is because I don't think this hero is underrated as a climber. I think everyone knows that this hero is really good for climbing with, but in my opinion, I think this is the best hero to climb with in Dota 2. Full stop. And I'm not sure that people generally think that, because he's not a classic cheese hero, like a Brood or a Meepo or whatever, your Huskar. He's also not a Lycan, who I did think about putting Lycan in this spot, but I think Lycan's fallen off a little bit as that perennial, stupidly high win rate. In fact, looking at what Lycan's win rate is now, it's 43% in low games. Anyway, the hero I'm thinking of is Clonkers, the Clickety Clonks, who I think is the best hero to climb within Dota 2. First of all, just statistically, the win rates are off the charts. He's got a 10% win rate, so a 10% pick rate in all levels other than Divine Plus, where he's got 5%. And the win rates we're looking at 55%, 57%, 57% again, 56, 55. Crazy win rates. Everyone knows what this hero does. It's quite simple. The laning's stupidly dumb because of the Searing Arrows not drawing aggro, so creeps don't hit you. Strafe now disjoint, so you can't even man up against this hero. The new Death Pact gives him crazy bonus HP and obviously damage like they used to. And this weird new Skeleton Walk, or I suppose it's not new anymore. The hero's just stupid for pubs. The nuke potential is a joke. In lower levels, lower than me, say I'm ancient. Lower than me, you grab an Orchid. In fact, I don't know why I'm saying lower than me. This is totally my level as well. You grab an Orchid, you grab a Nullifier, pretty easy to do. By the time they're ready to deal with the Orchid with a Yules or a Glimmer or something, you've got a Nullifier and you nuke them. You can go down the Deso route. You can grab a BKB if you need to. The hero just speaks for itself, I feel like, in a pub setting, and I personally always ban Clinks pretty much. I hate playing against the hero, and you can get absolutely crushed solo, lose to a Clinks that's getting a kill every 30 seconds, and I just don't think there's another hero like it.
Invisibility, too much to handle in pubs.
No, literally, well, there you go. I think I didn't even
Marco's
mention
whole
invisibility.
strategy with Ricky.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go invis with Ricky. I run under the towers.
The other thing to mention with Clinks is you don't even have to go down the Orchid Nullifier route. You can just go Treads Deso Hex. You just grab a Hex, and if they don't have Lincolns, they are dead on every hero that isn't a tanky strength hero. It's actually just dumb. Like, when you're playing against Clinks, if he builds a Hex and he grabs it at 25 minutes with a Deso or something, you actually have to just stay in groups of 3. Full stop. Like, I don't know, the hero, I feel like every time I'm up against a Clinks, it's just an uphill battle, and the hero's made for pub Dota 2, I think. That's my view. Sometimes you get a dream game and your team are all on the same page and they jump the Clinks and you go hunting for Clinks and you're ready and you jump him. Even games like that, all it takes is one miscommunication, one moment for your carry to be isolated, one moment for you to stop looking at your tier 3 when you're getting split pushed by a Clinks, and suddenly the hero's just, I feel like the floor is so high, and I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to say it's hard to mess up. It's easy to, the effort you have to put in to beat a Clinks is so high, and the effort you have to put in to win with Clinks is so low. Like, you'll just get free wins because the enemies have to actually play really well to not just capitulate to a Clinks.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong shout, and the win rates are pretty immense and back up that it's a dominant pub hero. And as long as the laning, I think, doesn't go too badly, because I don't think he's got Searing Arrows, but he is squishy, he's got low HP. Laning can be rough, potentially, but if that goes average, and then you're able to get that first item and start hunting supports who are going to be alone, isolated, not have vision, etc., and just abuse your invis killer aspect. I think, you can steamroll many pubs, and yeah.
And the meta favours him massively at the moment. You know, you wouldn't see Clinks with these statistics in the old patch when teams were grouping up and ending games at 25 minutes. This is very much plus 3% to all these win rates because of the meta game where games are going longer. It's harder for teams to just group up and push and win a game 20 to 30 minutes. Games are going longer. People are splitting up and farming more. Clinks is licking his lips.
That's true.
It's also meta favoured, the reason this hero's doing so well at the moment.
Because you have fast games. If you crash.
I mean, definitely.
Fast games, and that's all about, climbing's all about,
fast MMO.
There you go. Adam's playing 4D chess. We're all thinking about good heroes. He's thinking about quick heroes. There you go. Adam, you have the honours of setting off the last hero.
Yeah, this hero is fast, and it is also one rank more popular than Shadow Demon, which was 106th. So this is a Come Dine With Me special. The Enchantress.
Oh, hey.
Very strong laner. A lot of damage. Can
you win games with Enchantress?
As a 5, absolutely. You you take over the game, take over the lane, you take a creep, and if you're Satyr, you blast them. If it's a Centaur, you stomp them. Your W purges, so you take off buffs and basically root them in place. I think the new, or like the workaround with like Impetus and Untouchable, making Impetus a Q spell makes the lane even better. Like you just put out dumb amounts of damage at level 3. Level 1 even, but like level 3 is where it really starts to ramp up. You just people don't really respect it, and then all of a sudden you just kill people in the lane with right clicks. You know, like that doesn't really happen for the most part as you go higher up in the ranks. Like, but you absolutely can do that with Enchantress. You have your creep, you take over, tank the tower as you dive, or you just throw the impetus and like walk away, get that extra little bonus damage from the distance. I don't know. She's a tasty, I don't know what you want to call her, hero.
Tasty hero. Yeah, I think the Ench House is interesting. People don't know what to do against her. That's certainly one of the benefits of the hero. I wouldn't really know what to do differently if I was laning against an Ench. I'd just see how it was going and then I'd try and adjust on the fly. Great heals, obviously. The hero is a bit odd now that Impetus is not on level 6. It's just, you get points in it. I wouldn't know how to build the hero either. I wouldn't be sure whether or not to get many levels in Impetus. I'd be tempted to just get maybe 1 point and then just get
you max it
and stuff.
Because it's a 0 second cooldown.
So you want 4 points at level 7?
I think so.
Interesting. Okay.
Because you just like bully their carry out of lane as a 5 with right clicks. Yeah. And
Great
Sproink is really cool. Yeah.
Great Aghanims upgrade. Sproink.
Someone got mad at me in the post game for building Ags on a 3-inch. They said it was the worst Ags in the game. I'm like, that's just false. like it gives, maybe when it was just Sproink, but now it gives another Dragonlance on top of your Dragonlance. And there are Ags that are worse than just a Dragonlance. So
there are some bad Ags out there, that's for sure.
It just can't be the worst.
I remember when I pressured nice day into building Ags on Ancient Apparition, thinking that it reduced his Ice Blast cooldown.
No.
And then finding out that it actually never did that. It never reduced the cooldown on Ice Blast. It just made it do more shatter.
Yeah.
Increase the shatter.
It used to be a really strong Ags when it buffed the ultimate, but then in the game he got it's just buffing his Chilling Touch. And as this pause 5,
cooldown, yeah.
It pause 5, 40 minutes in. Guys, I've got Ags. Oh, it just reduces Chilling Touch cooldown. That felt bad.
Yeah.
Never mind Force Staff Glimmer, we've got 0-second cooldown on Chilling Touch.
Well, there you have it. Episode 114 of the New Meta Podcast in the books, our 5 most underrated Dota 2 heroes to climb with. So I expect nothing less than stories of success in the Discord and elsewhere over this calibration season. Happy Dietide and stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week.